students, good morning. This is your science teacher Mrs. Anitha. In today's class, we discuss the heat from chapter 4. In last chapter, we discussed about types of fibers. As you know, woolen cloths keep us warm. Cotton cloths keep us cool. You might have wondered why particular types of clothes are suitable for particular season. In winter, you feel cold inside the house. If you come out in the sun, you feel warm. In summer, you feel hot even inside the house. How do we know whether an object is hot or cold? How do we find out how hot or cold an object is? In this chapter, we shall try to seek answer to some of these questions. Let's go to the session. In this chapter, we will discuss about hot and cold, measuring temperature and transfer of heat. Hot and cold. In our day-to-day life, we come across a number of objects. Some of them are hot and some of them are cold. For example, tea is hot and ice is cold. We see that some objects are cold while some are hot. You also know that some objects are hotter than others, while some are colder than others. How do we decide which object is hotter than the other? We often do it by touching the objects. But is our sense of touches reliable? Let's find out. Heat is the form of energy that is transferred between two substances at different temperature. Heat is measured in units of energy, usually calories or joules. Temperature. How do we find the temperature? What is temperature? For this question, we will do one activity. Take 3 large mugs, label them as A, B and C. Put a cold water in a mug A and hot water in mug B. Mix some cold and hot water in mug C. Now, dip your left hand in mug A and the right hand in mug B. After keeping the hands in the 2 mugs for 2 to 3 minutes, put both the hands simultaneously in mug C. Do both the hands get the same feeling? My left hand tells me that the water in mug C is hot and the right hand tells me that the same water is cold. What should I conclude? This question arises from your mind? No. Yes, because we cannot always rely on our sense of touch to decide whether an object is hot or cold. Sometimes it may deceive us. Then how do we find out how hot an object really is? A reliable measure of the hotness of an object is its temperature. Temperature is measured by a device called thermometer. There are types of thermometer is available: clinical thermometer and laboratory thermometer. How can we measure temperature? Have you seen a thermometer? Recall that when you or someone else in your family had fever, the temperature was measured by a thermometer. The thermometer that measures our body temperature is called a clinical thermometer. A clinical thermometer consists of a long, narrow, uniform glass tube. It has a bulb at one end. This bulb contains mercury. Outside the bulb, a small shining thread of mercury can be seen. If you do not see the mercury thread, rotate the thermometer a bit till you see it. You also find a scale on the thermometer. The scale we use is Celsius, indicated by degree C. A clinical thermometer reads temperature from 35 degrees Celsius to 42 degrees Celsius. There is a lot of concern over the use of mercury in thermometers. Mercury is a toxic substance and is very difficult to dispose of if a thermometer breaks. These days, digital thermometers are available which do not use mercury. The normal temperature of human body is 37 degrees Celsius. Laboratory thermometer. How do we measure the temperature of other objects? For this purpose, there are other thermometers. One such thermometer is known as the laboratory thermometer. A laboratory thermometer is used for measuring temperature other than the human body temperature. It ranges from minus 10 degrees Celsius to 110 degrees Celsius. Laboratory thermometers are designed for lab purposes such as checking boiling point, freezing point or temperature of other substances. Different types of thermometers are used for different purposes. The maximum and minimum temperatures of the previous day reported in weather reports are measured by a thermometer called the maximum minimum thermometer. This maximum minimum thermometer used to find the extreme weather condition. It may be hot or cold. You might have observed that a frying pan becomes hot when kept on a flame. It is because the heat passes from the flame to the utensil. When the pan is removed from the fire, it slowly cools down. Why does it cool down? The heat is transferred from the pan to the surroundings. So you can understand that in both cases, the heat flows from a hotter object to a colder object. In fact, in all cases, heat flows from a hotter object to a colder object. How does heat flow? Let's investigate. Heat transfer by three principal mechanisms. They are conduction, radiation, and convection. Conduction is the transfer of thermal energy through direct contact. Convection is the transfer of thermal energy through the movement of a liquid or gas particles. Radiation is the transfer of thermal energy through thermal emission. We are getting sunlight from sun through radiation and getting land heating heat by conduction. That heating air, that hot air rises up through convection. Conductors and insulators. What is conductor? Conductor allows the energy to pass through it. That energy may be heat, light, or electrical energy. For examples, aluminium, iron, and copper. The materials which do not allow heat to pass through them easily are poor conductors of heat such as plastic and wood. Poor conductors are also known as insulators. The water and air are poor conductors of heat. Activity 1. Let's investigate. Take a rod or flat strip of a metal. You can take your metal scale, metal ruler. Fix a few small wax pieces on rod. These pieces should be at equal distances. Clamp the rod to a stand. Heat the other end of the rod and observe. Your setting may be like this. What happens to the wax pieces? Do these pieces begin to fall? Which piece falls the first? The process by which heat is transferred from the hotter end to the colder end of an object is known as conduction. Activity 2. Heat water in a small pan or a beaker. Pour the hot water in another bowl or beaker. Collect some articles such as steel spoon, plastic scale, wooden pencil, the different kind of materials. Dip one end of each of these articles in hot water. Wait for a few minutes. Touch the other end. Enter your observation in following table. Enter the article in first column and write the material with which the article is made of in second column, and does the other end get hot or not. If it is getting hot, you put yes. If it doesn't get hot, put no. The movement caused within a fluid by the tendency of hotter and therefore less dense material to rise and colder, denser material to sink under the influence of gravity. This process is known as convection. The hotter material loses its density and it becomes lighter, so it will rises up. The colder material getting dense particle, so it comes down. Activity 3. Light a candle. Keep one hand above the flame and other hand on the side of the flame. Do your hands feel equally hot? If not, which hand feels hotter and why? The next topic is radiation. Radiation is a form of heat transfer that does not require any medium. Can be used for transfer of heat in vacuum as well. We get sunlight or sun heat by radiation. Dark colored objects absorb radiation better than the light colored objects. For that reason only we wearing light colored dresses in summer and dark colored dresses in winter. Okay, children, I hope you all find the answer for this questions which we started at first. So now it's your time to do this by yourself. While doing this activity, I recommend you to record it as a video and send your video as an assignment in LMS. Thank you. Happy